Hello, my friends. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, AY260. I'm Cindy Nierenberg, and I'm documenting not only my weight loss this year, but also things that I've learned, life lessons, and just interesting facts that I picked up along the way on my AY260. This week, for my weight loss, I've had I think, a pretty great week. I'm down 1.2 pounds this week. I weighed in last week at 240.8, and this week I weighed in at 239.6. So that's a 1.2 pound loss. Now, this week, I found this amazing book that I've been listening to, and I ordered it as a physical copy because I just wanted the information at my fingertips. And the book is called The Gap and the Gain by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. Hope you can see that. The Gap and the Gain by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. I do think that Dr. Benjamin Hardy wrote the book, but Dan Sullivan got top billing. He may get mad at me for saying that, but something tells me that Dan Sullivan's not listening to my videos. Dan Sullivan is a very high-end business coach, and Benjamin Hardy, I think, was one of his students. If you get the Audible version of this book, you hear conversations between the two authors discussing what's happening in the chapters. And I think that information alone is really, really valuable. So if I had a recommendation, I would start with Audible, and then you can get the physical book later if you find the information is really, really valid. So what is the information that is so good in this book? He talks about gap versus gain mindsets. And our brains were designed to keep us safe, right? Our brains are always going to scan our environment and go, okay, is there a bear out there that's trying to chase me? Is something trying to eat me? Will I be able to survive? It's easy to go into the gap thinking, which is more negative thinking and finding fault, what's wrong with everything that's going on. And when we do that, we kind of our brains are like, okay, I'm just keeping you safe here. But we're not always very happy when we go into the gain or the gap thinking. But when we can move over into the gain thinking and think more positively, like what's going right, what's already working, we have so much more self-satisfaction as we walk through this life. So when I got on the scale this week and it said a 1.2 pound loss, at first I was like, I wish it were more. Like our brains want to keep us safe. They automatically go to that gap thinking. I wish it were more. This is going to take a long time. But then I made myself go into the gain thinking. I developed this little saying like, get your head in the gain, Cindy. So multiple times throughout the day, I'll say, get your head in the gain, Cindy. And when I get my head in the gain, I'm like, oh my gosh, you know what? I have made a lot of changes this past week that are really, really working and that are getting me closer to my goal. When I am in the gain mindset, I can ask myself better questions like, what is already working? What am I doing that is already good enough? What am I doing that I could maybe level up, maybe even 1%? What am I already satisfied with that I'm doing? One of the women that I follow, she's doing this exercise challenge this week, or this month actually. And the exercise is you start at 10 minutes per day, and then you gradually increase the increments, throughout the week until you get to like an hour a day of exercise. When I'm in the gap thinking, initially I'm like 10 minutes, like what even is that? 10 minutes, that's not a workout. But can you imagine, if you think in the gain mindset, can you imagine if you did 10 minutes of exercise, concentrated, focused exercise every day for the rest of your life? How wonderful that would be. And I also think too, if I had to drop and do 10 minutes of push-ups, that would be a long time, right? 10 minutes could be an eternity. So gap versus gain. When I do 20 minutes of exercise, my brain goes to the gap. Like, oh, now I'm going to have to put on exercise clothes. Now I've got to get my shoes and socks on. Now I've got to be more focused about this. And as that time, increases throughout the month, then I feel like, well, that's just going to get harder and harder. But when I'm in the gain mindset, I'm thinking, it's no big deal. So I put my shoes on. So I get on my exercise bike. So I go outside and I go for a nice long walk. There are lots of things that I can do that I'm going to enjoy that 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 minutes. And I'll be grateful that I did it. So that's what I wanted to share with you this week. Remember just to identify when you find yourself in the gap and try to get yourself over into the gain. What can I think that would be just a little bit more positive? What can I think that would level up 1%? How can I ask a better question to get me toward the goals that I want to go to? I highly recommend the book. I hope you'll get it. I'd love to hear what you think about it. I'll leave my contact information below, and I'd love to hear from you. Have a wonderful week, you guys.